Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today live on YouTube, Instagram, and on TikTok. Recording of this on YouTube. Please like, share, and ring that bell to get updates. We're doing our regular Q&A session going over U.S. immigration every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific to 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, on Instagram, JQK Law Firm, and on YouTube, the JQK Law Firm YouTube page, taking your questions and updates as to all the wild craziness that is U.S. immigration. And today, what is it, October 28th, by next week we'll may know who the president is, and that will have a big effect on the future of immigration policy of this country, either for negative or positive, or who knows. But we'll talk about all that as your questions are coming in and a lot more. We'll get to it in a second. All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining us. We have members coming in and asking their questions. I kind of changed up the studio. I'm doing the recording in a new place, so it's gonna get fixed up a little bit and have some more stuff. Maybe we'll make it fun. We'll see what's happening. Etito, nice to see you too. Thanks for joining on YouTube. And Nani on what's it called, Instagram as well. Thank you for joining us. And the team on TikTok is coming slowly but surely. Your questions will be coming up in a second. But there's a lot of things going on in immigration law that's going to affect a lot of your cases. I've been posting about this on the Instagram page, on the YouTube page, and everywhere that I want to share with you. One thing is the Form I-485 and the I-485J as well, for all those who have employment-based green card cases, whose visa bulletin became current, have to understand and be aware that Form I-485 expired. Now that means that the intended expiration date of the form has happened, but that they're still accepting it. So until they publish the new one, this current one is okay. But one thing USCIS has been doing recently is they'll just publish a new one without much fanfare and without much notice. And that's very dangerous because you might not know that they changed it. You submit it and the case gets rejected. So you really want to, every time you want to file an I-485 or you have another lawyer filing it, for example, check to see which version of it is, if a new version is required, so you don't have those kind of rejection problems that pop up. And again, it does happen a lot. Paranoid Android says, hello, counselor, hello to you too. Danielle asked, do the fees increase yet? So the fee increase that was going to happen on October 1st has not happened yet. The injunction on that still holds, today being, October 28th or something like that. Let me double check what date it is today. Today 8th. So that's still there, but any day now that could change. And so that's that. There is a fee increase that happened for premium processing cases. These are when you want to apply in certain categories, you're allowed to pay extra money to get a decision faster. The fees of that did increase drastically. So if you're doing something like that, yeah, there's a big change. But the regular fee increase that was going to happen for like citizenship cases, for work permits, for advanced parole child permission, and a lot more different types of cases, that is still on hold, and we don't know what's going to happen on that. So thank you for your question, Daniela. But along with that, the reason why the fee increase is on hold is because of a court injunction. There were two other injunctions that happened in the month before October, September. One of them was, both of them were related to public charge rule, and this is with regards to if you're applying for a green card, you have to show that you make enough money and you have the background to be able to support yourself once you're in the United States. And so what happened with that is there was a court that said, or courts that said, no, this is too harsh during COVID-19. We're going to put it in injunction. We're going to not let that go into place. Well, a higher appeals court said, no. When it comes to the public charge rule in the United States for I-944, that could still go ahead. So what we saw is USCIS is requiring Form I-944 to be used when you're applying for adjustment of status Form I-485. However, a separate court, a district court, put an injunction on the public charge rule being enforced through the embassies, Form DS-5540. And if you go to the State Department's website, they still honor that and don't require a DS-5540 public charge form. Now, two notes on that. Just because they don't make them form mandatory, the embassy officer still has a lot of authority to ask about finances and make a public charge determination. So that's there. Usually they're not too bad about that. But another thing that's been holding it back is the embassies have been shut down anyway. So a lot of people aren't having to deal with it. However, a colleague of mine, another attorney, said that some embassy that she's dealing with in the Middle East has been asking for it. And I informed her, I said, hey, that's against the injunction. Now, she was able to get the visas for those cases, she let it go. But that's extra work and extra hassle and extra worry that the client might not get approved. So it's really important to be aware of these kind of stuff, your attorneys be aware, and to challenge the government if they're breaking the law, which is this injunction. It's a national injunction, applies to every embassy, and the policy of the State Department on their website is we don't require this. But because the system is so big, not everyone gets the memo, and so mistakes like that happen. But just keep in mind, these injunctions, this is what makes immigration law so complicated. Every day there's some rule that changes, something happens here. 8th Circuit does this, the 9th Circuit does this, and it's a really hard area of law to keep up on. It's very political, and it changes a lot. So these are the headaches of an immigration attorney, and your clients have to deal with this. Now we got some more questions on YouTube. Tito asks, please sir, when will the immigrant visa ban placed on some Muslim majority countries be lifted? I don't know. You have to ask President Trump about that one. Paranoid says, are you seeing more frequent RFEs on EB1 versus natural interest waivers? Is it roughly the same for both? That's too broad of a question. Every case is different. Eagles asks, while waiting for the green card in the state, can I leave? Can I keep working at the overseas company remotely? Is that allowed? You know, that's it depends on what kind of green card that you're applying for. The discussion about work is really large. Let me see. I'm going to ask some other questions. If you have more time, I'll get to that. That's a big discussion. Andy asks, can an undocumented student apply for a student visa? No. A visa, if you're an undocumented student, meaning you're inside the United States, you can't apply for a visa because that requires you to leave. But if you mean student status, as in if you had immigration status, no, because you're already here in violation. You can't just get student status then. However, in a lot of states like California, you don't need to be documented or have paperwork, immigration paperwork, to be able to go to school. So that might not be something that could be is a problem for you anyways. Vive says, thanks, hello to you too. Jordan asks, I was charged with false allegations, felony 2, the drop charges. I am a green card holder. That's a serious thing. We have to see the paperwork and what kind of evidence you have that charges were dropped, what kind of things were said during your arrest, if there's a police report, if there's any admissions. Those kind of criminal stuff are really complicated. It's not something to ask about here. Let's see. Amgod says, hey, how the interview for green card marriage held? How is it held? The same as usual. You go to the interview. There's some more precautions for COVID-19, but essentially it's the same. Siraj asks, oh, so if my I-130 is in process, can I pay more money and will it work faster? No. Historically, the premium processing only works for some employment-based cases. The new rule says it applies to more employment-based types cases, almost all of them. However, and also for work permits. So let's say you do file for a green card in the United States and you also apply for work permit, the new premium processing will allow that to be expedited. However, they haven't started that program. They increased the fees for it, but they haven't made it available to all different categories of things. But the I-130 marriage kind of case is not included in the type of case that could get premium processing. Kilner asks, does unemployment count for public charge? Unemployment insurance, which you get from the state if you're unemployed even working here, is not a public charge factor, no. Gasho asks, sir, I completed N400 interview, and by public charge, I mean form I-944 issues. There's a lot of different things that go into public charge, so I just want to put that out there. Yashal asks, sir, I completed N400 interview and I passed everything under review since August 6th. Asylum, PR. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know your case to be able to answer that. You could probably sue if they're taking too long, but you should talk with an attorney in private for something like that. Jaw asks, can we amend my application if my spouse I-485 is pending? I don't know what you particularly mean by amend, but if you made like a typo error on that, you could correct it with USCIS. You contact them in various ways. I have a video on this on YouTube, the JK Law Firm YouTube page, talking about the 5 different ways to contact them about changes. Goes to that, hey, so my friend's I-130 case says return to NBC. He already had his interview. What does this mean? That's really horrible. So if your friend had their interview at the embassy and the case was returned to the NBC, that means the officer found a reason to deny your case and the case is being sent back to USCIS, essentially trying to, going down a black hole of denial. Now USCIS could eventually say, no, it's good and send it back, but it's gonna take forever. A lot of times these cases, it's smart just to refile and start everything, but I have to see, so have your friend contact an immigration lawyer in private and ask for guidance on that. This is a very case-specific issue. Lovish asks, we went for interview, they asked for our fee. Is that good or bad? Well, that's generally bad. I mean, they want more evidence, but it depends on what's in the RFE and what happened at the interview. So there's not enough information to be able to answer that. Gasho asks, can my parents visit from India, or India has travel ban because of COVID? India itself does not have travel ban because of COVID, but if your parents visit a country or in transit in a country on the way here that's subject to a travel ban, that could be a problem. Vilma asks, where are you located? I'm headquartered in Los Angeles, but I take cases from across the country. Immigration is federal law, so we help people from everywhere. We got a bunch of questions on YouTube. Let me get back into them. Let's see. Mohsen asks, sir, a C-21 visa LPR is banned. If yes, do you think they'll extend the ban? I don't know if they'll extend or not. I can't remember who C-21 is, what category that is. So if you could give me like more details on which one that is, I don't remember which one C-21 is. Avelina says, can you explain CISPA? Does it activate during the petition I-130 pending? Well, CISPA is called the Child Status Protection Act, short for CISPA, CSPA. And that allows children of beneficiaries of green card applications to be included in the parents' applications, even if they age out, go over the age of 21. There's a specific calculation for how to figure out if the age is below or under. Essentially, you subtract the time that the case, the I-130 or I-140 case was pending, from the child's age at the time the visa bulletin becomes current. There's a lot that goes on there. It's still complicated what I said, but I do have a video on this on YouTube, the JK Law Firm. Just go there, look for CISPA, CSPA, and I have a breakdown of how that works. But yeah, that's that. Joshua Thomas sends a bunch of emojis. God bless you. Oscar says, can an undocumented worker be sponsored for H-2B visa? Probably not in most cases, but I'd have to see exactly what your situation is. Paranoid says, I got a very detailed RFE from this officer, and I heard from others applying for EB1 that this officer is notorious rejecting. Another attorney suggested withdrawing applying again. I don't know. I have to see what the charges are, what happened, so I can't help you with that. Lola is a new subscriber. Hi, Lola. Good to see you on YouTube. Raul says, case processing time pushing back every month. The case processing times are not reliable, so I don't even look at them. Most immigration attorneys don't look at them. You just got to wait for your case to come. Lola says, my mom in Sweden almost over 2 years on LPR. Is she abandoned now? Well, technically you've abandoned your status if you've been outside for more than 1 year, but sometimes it's not that strict about it. She should try to come back to the United States as soon as possible, or talk with a lawyer first, because they may want to get an SB1 visa. That's a larger topic to talk about. That's probably better to happen in private. We have a question on Instagram. Wilma asking, do I speak Spanish? No, I don't. I only speak Farsi and English. I don't speak Spanish. Rod says, hello, sir. I've submitted my I-485 green card application based on marriage. They got an RFE 120 days ago. They submitted an RFE, still no response. Yeah, you just got to wait. There's nothing you can do about that. Lola asks, is her green card abandoned? Well, I think I answered that. Molson says, C21 is green card petitioner holder applying for spouse. Oh, is that C21? Oh, is that C20 conditional? A C20, a green card holder filing for conditional spouse is like FX1. So, and then these codes are weird. What was the most? I forgot. What was your initial question? Let me see if I can find it. Nelson asks, is the LPR banned? Yeah. So, spouse of a green card holder in most. It depends on what country they are, but yeah, they're banned. I think there was an immigrant visa ban, so they're affected by that unless they find some sort of exception to that. Lola says hi. Okay, we saw that. Modupa hi, you too. Paranoid says thank you. Lola, she never has no entry doc done. I don't know, Lola. I have to see what's going on with the case. I will schedule a consultation. Avelino says thanks good info. Thank you. Paranoid says I'll have more questions. Thank you, Paranoid. Well, just tune in the channel, subscribe, like the JQK Law Firm YouTube page, and throw your questions up. I usually answer questions on live. When people comment and stuff, there's just so many, I kind of lose track. And a lot of the questions, the answers are in my videos I posted, so it gets repetitive. But if you ask live, it works too. Lola says she applied for Sweden permit. They denied her. Yeah, Lola, just talk to attorney in private about this stuff. Molson says, thank you for answering my question. Have a nice one. You too, Molson. Thank you for joining us on the YouTube page. So we got some questions on TikTok that piled up. Gasho asks, can my parents, or we answered that already. Bush asks, does having a citation ticket disqualify you from becoming a U.S. citizen? Probably not. It depends on what it's for, but usually a citation is from something that's minor. Unless you have like 100 of them, that shows you're kind of like a belligerent driver or something like that. It shouldn't be a problem. But if you feel like it is, just talk with an attorney in private. Lovish says, how long should an RFE take? There is no deadline or timeline on our RFE. Killer says, with regard to the USCIS, respond to the RFE response that you sent them. Killer Instinct says, can one apply for a green card from home country after getting national interest waiver in the United States? Yeah, it's called consular processing, but it really depends on the case and what's going on. Melissa says, my marriage-based interview got canceled. When can I expect a new date? There's no expectation of when that is, whenever they get a chance to contact you about it. John says, I'm married to my girlfriend after her I-485 is filed. Do I need to be approved before it? John, I don't know. So you're saying after her, she filed for I-485, you want to get in on that? Then it's not an amendment, it's you submit a new one. You should talk to a lawyer in private. It seems complicated enough where you got to get a lawyer in private. Bushwood follows up, I got a ticket from Metro Transit Police. So I was wondering if that could disqualify my citizenship. So I got to see what the ticket was for and what happened. So I can't give you, plus I just can't give you individual legal advice here. You should consult a lawyer. So, probably not, but again, talk with a lawyer. That's a better way in private, that they can review the actual paperwork of a ticket that was given to you. Tiki Talk says, hi, can you talk about expedited NBC email, rate of acceptance? Thanks. There's no rate of acceptance. There's no statistics on this stuff. If you need to expedite something, you make a request and you hope for the best. Tiki Talk CR1, yeah, so that's that. Let's see, Elizabeth says, in case Biden wins, will he change DACA for everyone to apply? I don't know. It's up to him, and we'll just have to see. Ad says, I wonder why they didn't provide pre-em processing like employment-based cases. They didn't provide pre-em processing because I don't know why either. Naresh says, in my case, status notice returned because UPS not delivered. Well, that's not good. Contact USCIS to see what document it was and how you could get it, because that sucks if they couldn't deliver it. Naresh says what to do. Call USCIS. It's gonna be hard to get hold of them, but call them up. Nicole says, my husband is from India. I'm a U.S. citizen. Can I apply for my father-in-law to come here? Your father-in-law can apply for tourist visa on his own to come here, but you can't do anything for your father-in-law, no. How long will I-7330 take? I don't know. Timelines aren't reliable. I don't answer those questions. You're welcome, Lisa Hardy, sir, to you too. All right, a couple questions on YouTube. Thank you for answering. You're welcome. Sorry, I love your video, Lolo. Thank you so much. She doesn't want to come back. Yeah, so Lolo, if your mom doesn't want to come back, then she shouldn't worry about being abandoned. Now, she is a U.S. taxpayer until she fully abandons her case, so she might want to worry about that. One thing people know about is once you become a U.S. person, you're a U.S. citizen, you're a green card holder, you're work visa. If you're in the United States for more than like 6 or 8 months or something like that, you're subject to U.S. taxes on your global income. So be mindful of that. And your mom's green card holder, that might be something she wants to deal with. But she's 82, as you're saying right now. Probably just live her life and not care. Then again, if tax authorities come after her, they go back and take money from her state. So something to plan about. Melissa says, I hope Biden wins. Trump has been very tough on us. LOL. Yeah, very, very tough. Lola says she never paid taxes. If she has some assets the U.S. could access, then you got to be careful, because they can come after her and get her money like in foreign bank accounts too. Probably not going to happen, but just something to think about. I'll talk with an accountant. Eliza says, I was just wondering, because he said in the 100 days he will send the request to the Supreme Court. One thing about politics, about what Biden's going to do is get elected, politicians talk a lot, and most of the time they don't do what they say. Other than Donald Trump, for whatever it is, he really did what he wanted to do on immigration. He was very successful. But historically, Democrats talk a good game about immigration and helping immigrants. But I'm yet to be satisfied with what they actually do. Bill Clinton signed IRIRA, one of the most horrific immigration bills. Obama was the deporter-in-chief, and Biden was part of that system. So I don't have high hopes that Biden's going to do much good. But, it can't be worse than Trump, I'm guessing. So it's lesser of two evils, as always, in U.S. elections. Joyce says, fiancé visa approved, what's next? Well, you start the embassy process. If you want information about that, just download my Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. You could go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download it there. It'll give you guidance on the next steps. And also the Department of State's website, the DOS website, or travel.state.gov, has a page about fiancé visas where they break down the step-by-step process. You should also visit the embassy website where the interview is going to happen. They'll have their own unique specific instructions on what that particular embassy wants as part of an F1 visa package. So there's a lot of research you got to do, but it's out there, or just hire an attorney to help you out with that. Narish says, but my attorney said no need to call. Can you please suggest? If USPS tried to deliver something and it wasn't accepted and it's something, I don't know what's going on with your cases. I don't want to say something different from your attorney because I don't know what the details are. But if it was, for example, a green card being delivered and it was sent back, that's not good. Sometimes they send like stupid documents that could bounce back, but the attorney, if you have an attorney, gets a copy as well. So the attorney knows that it's something that's not worth calling about and waste your time on, so that may be it. So that's why a lot of the things I need to know your individual case. Like I have cases right now where like we get a receipt notice of something the government does. I get a copy as the attorney and the client gets it too. The client doesn't get delivered, it bounces back, but it doesn't matter. You have to want to call them unless there's some issues with the address or something you want to check up on. But I don't know, without reviewing your case to see what's going on, it's not something I can answer. Schedule a private consultation. Isma says, I had 2 separate interviews for marriage. They went great and didn't answer till now. If you had 2 separate interviews for your green cards, your interviews didn't go, you went terrible. You shouldn't have 2 separate interviews. So you probably misread how things were going. And if they haven't got a message till now, they're doing an investigation. Things went really bad in your interview. Almost 2 years, but yeah, you're good having an investigation for fraud. So you should consult with an attorney just to see what's going on. It didn't go like you thought it would do. I Love You says, I just got an RFE for I-485 yesterday about affidavits of support. Sucks. Well, you got to see what they want and respond. Eliza says, thank you so much. Of course, I would not believe in such hosts, but still something to be nice. Yeah, we could pray. But I hear you, Eliza. Okay, Nars says, thanks for your help. You're welcome, Nars. Thank you so much. Let's go back to YouTube. We got some questions over here. Let's see. Lola says, we talked about the You Rock. Thank you, Lola. I appreciate that. Avelina says, can an embassy be chosen for consular processing services? Living in the U.S., can't travel back to my home country because I'm seeking asylum from it. Asylum pending. Well, yeah, if you have an asylum case and you can't go back to your home country, you could potentially request third country processing. So, maybe go to Canada or something like that. But if you have an asylum case pending, I'm not sure if you do want to leave the United States. And then we have to analyze how you got, a visa processing going. If you had any lawful presence in the United States. I believe that's a complicated issue that requires a lot of knowledge about the details of your case to be able to advise. But the simple question of, in your case, can you find another embassy? You potentially could request another embassy to accept it because you can't go back to your home country. There's a lot of more things I would need to know to analyze. Now, Naresh asks, are you a doctor? I have a Juris Doctor. So lawyers have a doctorate degree, which is right behind me right here, actually. But they don't, other than in America, we don't call us doctors. A lot of other countries in the world, they call it doctors. So people do call me up from foreign countries, say, hey, doctor. I'm technically a Juris Doctor, I guess, or whatever that is. But they just call me, John. That's fine. Dr. John, I guess. Nara says, how can I transfer my case with you? I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't know. I have to see what's going on with the case first, Naresh. If it's already midway in the case, I'm not sure how much I can help unless things are going really bad. But I would say first have a consultation. There's a fee for that, but email my office and just to get a copy of your file so you can see what's going on, what kind of help you need. Maybe everything is done, so there's no need for me to take it anyways. It'll work out, but I have to see what's going on with your case first. Melissa says, sir, are you only based call? Are you only based call? I'm not sure which, based in Cali, is that what you're saying? Melissa, ask your question again, but no, I handle cases from across the country, all over America and all over the world. So no, I'm not just in California, if that's what you're asking. Lola says her green card expires next year. She doesn't want to come back, or Sweden. Yeah, Lola, it's her decision. She's just, it's a consultation needed to go into more detail. We're getting too much into details I can't get into in a public place like this. Iran Ahavan says, my parents are green card holders. They have been outside the country for more than a year due to COVID. Is there any problem for returning? I mean, technically, they could hassle them for abandonment if they come back. The U.S. may have understanding at the port. The airport officers usually do, but it depends on how long they've been out, why they left, what kind of life they had in the U.S. It's a bigger analysis of your life that we have to do. It's not something I can just say yes or no. It's not a question that works that way. But have your parents talk with an immigration attorney in private for help and guidance on that. All right. Thank you so much for everyone who joined today. It's been a nonstop questions. I like it. Nonstop bam, 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 getting into all this kind of stuff. And it's a very stressful period of what people are going through right now because the elections are happening. Things aren't clear. If President Trump is elected, things are going to go really bad in an immigration sphere, as it seems, because as head of immigration, Stephen Miller has said, coming at us. Once President Trump doesn't need to get reelected again, then they're going to send all the things they have for immigration that we're having a tough time on. But we'll see. What ideal is if Trump gets elected, the Senate will go Democratic, so there's be a two-way, pull in government. That's always helpful for the people. When those elites are fighting against each other, it gives us regular people time to breathe. So that's probably the best situation that we could have. Love says, is it normal for immigration to contact you and tell you to apply for a green card? No, immigration shouldn't be contacting you. Any contact immigration out with you is probably not good. So you should call it immigration in private to see what's going on at all. That's a weird situation that you're discussing. Paranoid says Stephen Miller is gross. Yeah, I hear you. Let's see. Tosib asks, I'm on a marriage-based green card, but now we are not living together. Can't she send me back to my home country? Well, no, she can't send you back to your home country. You have your green card. If it's a conditional green card, you have to give another interview or application package to keep the green card. But it's possible to keep it, but you should consult an immigration in private to review the situation. That's definitely the thing to do there. Vanessa asks, do you think still have time to apply for a green card when the person is overseas? I don't know how time comes an issue with it, but they're overseas. A lot of family couples are like that. They could apply. I need to know more about your situation. So just email my office, schedule a consultation. But I'm not sure how time and the overseas part go together on that. So I need to know more information to answer that. Love says, my asylum was granted over 2 years ago. That's why I guess maybe. Well, why would they contact you about that? Toad says green card's 10 years. Okay, if you've got a 10-year green card, then divorce is probably fine. But I would, to really give individual guidance, I need to have a consultation with you. Amgood says, green card interview for marriage held recently. Are you asking that, or are you telling me that? I'm not sure if that's a question. Let's see. Sorry, I got a phone call in the middle of the mix. But yeah, so yeah, a little more clear with the question to see what's going on. So yeah, the immigration situation is pretty messed up. Right now, when you are submitting cases, for example, we submit a green card case, they're getting so many cases, it could take like a month before they even cash a check. So that's the problem. Now, Amga says, how is it held? Held like it used to. You go to an interview, they talk with you. There'll be a plastic barrier in between you, and you have to that's really about it. Tosa says, thank you so much. You're welcome. Vanessa asks, it's from my mom. I didn't start yet. I mean, you can start. There is a travel ban against parents of green card holders, but if you just start right now, it's going to take like a year until that part that will be subject to trial ban even happens, if not longer than a year. So just start now. Who knows what's going to happen next year? Sap Dream asks, what documents are required for I-940 RFE comes? I have a sponsor, I don't know. RFEs means a request for evidence, and USCIS is asking for specific things. And what your case needs will be different from someone else's case. So I can't answer that. It really depends on what's deficient in your case. Plant Simon says, I have a J1, I'm married to a U.S. citizen, I applied for a marriage green card, my 2-year restriction expires next year. Would you recommend to start the process now or next year? Well, Plant, if you're not living in the United States, then start now. But if you're living in the United States, I mean, you can't file for adjustment of status or have your consular processing interview until the 2-year restriction is over for your J1 visa. But if it's just filing an I-130, I would file it just to get that out of the way. To get that started, because I-130s could take anywhere from 8 months to a year nowadays. So, but talk with the immigration in private for more help on that. A user 590 asks, I applied for my spouse in September 2019. I checked my case online before it says in process, but nothing. Yeah, things are backed up, so you just gotta wait. Just wait. September of last year is not too long ago, immigration-wise, and immigration time. So you just gotta wait. It's not a big deal. Cars asks, I had a great hop. You might check my email. It never happened. Karga, I didn't get your email. Very few times I don't answer emails if someone's question is so ridiculous I don't answer it. So I don't know, if your question's like that, I'd probably answer it. It's very once in a month that happens. But I probably didn't get your email. What's your question if you want it listed here? Okay. You're welcome, Plant Scientist. Yeah, J1 restriction is really annoying. It's if you have J1 is a scholar coming to the United States, exchange visitor, and in some categories of it, if you come, you have to go back to your home country and wait for 2 years before you can come back to the United States and get a green card, for example, or get an H-1B or L visa. So people get stuck with that a lot, so it's something you have to be mindful for. It's very unexpected in a lot of cases. So we only have a few minutes left. If y'all had some last questions, let me know. We'll pop them out right here. Vanessa asks, how can I request for that I change my name in the naturalization interview? If you didn't, when you file for citizenship, you request to have your name changed. You do it on the form. If you forgot to do it on the form, at the interview, you could ask it, and usually the officers will update it to change your name. However, this is very important, not every immigration office will accept name changes, because when you want to have your name changes, usually a judge has to be there to accept the name change. And so like offices in like San Francisco don't have judges doing the oath ceremony, so they can't change the name. And also under COVID-19, to speed up the naturalization process, they're not having judges come many times to do the oath ceremony. So you might not be able to change your name at naturalization. You may or may not. So see what happens. You can tell them at the interview. If it doesn't work out, you'll have to go through the court system in your state to change your name. User 590 asks, on the website it says in process but nothing. It doesn't say anything. Yeah, the web, don't trust the web. The website's not there to help. That's the truth of the fact of the matter. So don't worry about the website. All right, I have time for maybe one or two more questions. User 590 says, only it says receipt letter was sent to my address. Yeah, again, the website is not something to rely upon. It's not binding. So I know it's misleading. I put it out there to think it's helpful, but I know I do this day on, day out. The website is somewhat helpful, but it's not a primary, secondary, or tertiary thing I even reference. It's just as a backup of the backup. Things just start taking a long time right now, so you just gotta wait in all these cases. All right, so we got a lot of people joining us today. Thank you so much, everyone on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and all those watching on YouTube here. I mentioned the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide I talked about. It's a 41-page ebook I wrote that breaks down the entire marriage green card process. If you're doing a marriage case, a fiance case, family members, the interview, sample questions for an interview at USCIS, all of this kind of stuff, it's there. It's not you still should contact an immigration attorney, but it's really good to download that ebook. If you go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com, include the www part, and then download that. It'll give you an initial understanding. So before you have consultation with the lawyers, you have an understanding of what's going on, so you can have a very intelligent conversation with the lawyer prepared and not be caught off guard on the questions that they ask. Vanessa asks, I called the court and they say that my name is changed, but they don't have the form that I sent in the interview. The court and the interview are different things. The interview is with USCIS. The court is the court. They don't go together. They're different things. I mean, later on you can request after your oath ceremony your name change, but not the N400. So you're kind of mixing and matching. Maybe consult an immigration attorney private to help you guys through that. Red asks, what will the new pre-em processing for EAD happen? When will it happen? I don't know. Whenever they want to. Arvina asks, great guide, by the way. Thank you, Avelina. Thank you so much for plugging the guide. I appreciate it. I spent a lot of time on it to make sure it's good and helps out a lot of people. And so a lot of people who are doing themselves, it's a good roadmap of what to do. You still need to read the instructions and do your additional studying and have all your documents. But it's a good roadmap, a good basic understanding of what's going on. So I recommend everyone take a look at that. I should probably go in these different forums and publish it. I gotta make a note to myself to put the ebook in different forums and stuff like that. But I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Or should I take a note in the middle of the live show? But let's leave it at that. So I'll take one more question if you have, and then we'll call it a day. I'll be back next week, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, to go over stuff. We're on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John. We're on Instagram, JQK Law Firm, and live on YouTube and on recorded YouTube to go over your questions about U.S. immigration. Now, Infinite asks, when will the new pre-em processing have for EAD? We've got two questions back to back. It's the same question, but they haven't given us a timeline on when the EAD, the Employment Authorization Document, also known as the work permit, will be permitted to get premium processing, which means you give extra money and they make a decision on it faster. Right now, it's taking on average 6 months to get an EAD, many times longer, but hey, we'll see what happens. I guess with that, let's call it a day. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Immigration Lawyer John Khosravi. If you want to schedule a consultation, email my office, info@jqqlaw.com, and describe the immigration issue that you have to see if it's something my office handles. Please note there are fees for consultation, but I could give it to you in the email response once you get it there. Thank you so much, everyone. Be safe and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.